Welcome back to our How to Read Your Central Hudson Electricity Bill course. This is part 3 of our 4 videos. And in this part, we will look deeper into a couple topics. So let's get started. The first detail that we want to tackle is what is called your service class. Here are the most common service classes for small electricity customers. To make this as easy as possible, we'll go through each of these categories one by one, using sample bills to show you the differences between each class. Within each service class, there are a variety of rate classes, which are labeled as numbers with an E in front for electricity. So for example, within the residential service class, example rate classes could be 100 or E115, although there are also others. These numbers represent different specifics of your electricity usage, but as a rule of thumb, rate classes that end in 0 have Central Hudson Electric supply, and those ending with 5 have third-party supplies such as from Enesco or the Hudson Valley Community Power CCA program. Each service class, as you can see, offers a different price for the monthly basic service charge, which is the same each month, and the delivery service charge, which is multiplied by how much electricity you use each month, which we saw explained in the video on page 3 during the second part of this presentation. So to start, let's open up a sample residential bill. At the top of this page, you can see under billing detail, CH delivery meter number, which is blanked out in this case, by your rate, which on this bill says E115, since electric supply is from a third supplier. And it also says non, since the customer doesn't use electricity for their home heating. As we can see for this residential service class, the basic service right here is $20 per month, and the delivery service charge is 8.349 cents per kilowatt hour. And when it's multiplied by the total amount of kilowatt hours used that month, you get the total cost. Comparison, let's look at a small commercial bill. Here, you can see at the top of the page that the rate is E230. The even number means supply, which we can confirm below under the energy supply charges, with supply provided by Hudson showing market price and MFC supply charges. Then here you can see the basic service charge is $31. So it costs more per month in the commercial service class, but the delivery service charge is 4.838 cents versus that 8.3 and change for residential. And this is based on the idea that businesses will use more electricity on average. So even though they pay a higher monthly rate, their per kilowatt hour rate is lower to offer some cost savings. If, however, you are in the demand commercial service class, then you are a commercial customer using a lot of electricity in a given instant. Like when you turn on all of your appliances at the same time when you open up in the morning, and thus have to pay higher demand charges for your utility to reserve space for large surges in your electricity usage. So taking a look at a sample bill. As you can see on this bill, if you are a business customer and tend to use more than 10 kilowatts in a given instant, you will be placed into this rate class and will be charged a high basic service charge of $9.50, very big difference from that $30 charge. A very small delivery service charge, this is 0.478 cents, and instead you'll receive demand delivery charges, which are down here, at the rate of $11.10 per kilowatt, plus a miscellaneous charge of 54 cents per kilowatt that's used. And the electricity used is measured here. So these are the kilowatt hours, which is kind of the total electricity over a period of time. And then the kilowatts refers to that instantaneous surge in electricity usage. So this was the highest instantaneous usage during the previous month. And since it's above 10 kilowatts, the customer has to pay these demand charges, which, as you can see, they get very expensive. That basic service charge and then also the demand delivery service charge puts you in much more expensive territory. As a result, most businesses try to stay at demand charges if they are able to, in order to keep their costs below much more expensive prices. If, however, you have a rate class between E600 and E680, you have time of use billing. Time of use billing essentially charges more for electricity during on-peak hours, which are weekdays from 2 to 7 p.m., and less for using electricity during off-peak hours, which are all other hours and holidays. This can be especially useful for customers who charge an electric car overnight, for example, or tend to use a lot of electricity during off-peak hours. The basic service charge for all time of use rates is the same, currently $23, except for the time of use whole house electric vehicle charging rate plan, which has a rate of $20 per month. To encourage off-peak electricity usage, time of use customers are billed a higher on-peak delivery service charge of 9.3 cents per kilowatt hour from 2 to 7 p.m. on weekdays, and a lower off-peak delivery service charge of 7.9 cents per kilowatt hour at all other times and on holidays. We can find examples of this in this bill. So you see the rate class here, E612, electricity is used for heating. Then you can see the period that is designated as on peak, the percentage of electricity that was used during peak hours versus off peak. So this household is doing well. They're using 86% of their electricity off peak. And then you can see below the variation in charges. So there's the basic service charge. They're paying only 20, so they're in the electrical time of use plan. And then you see the on-peak charges of 9.3 cents and off-peak charges of 7.9 cents. Furthermore, if you're in a time of use billing program, you also get access to on-peak and off-peak supply price. But this is only available if your supply comes from Central Hudson instead of an ESCO or a CCA. As you can see, the market price on peak is 8.68 cents, which is pretty high. But if you purchase off-peak supply, it's only 2.87 cents, which is a huge savings and offers a lot of opportunity to shift your usage to off-peak hours to save money, not only on delivery, but also on supply. All this said, customers who are part of a CCA or get their electric supply from an ESCO for specific reasons, like they want to have access to clean energy, can still participate in time of use billing. However, it just means that that customer will not be able to benefit from the supply portion of the time of use savings. And that concludes part 3 of our video series. We'll be back with part 4.